Hi guys, good morning. How are you? Actually, it's kind of noon now. It's a little afternoon. I sort of got up, released this morning's video, and then went back to bed. It is definitely the epitome of a lazy Saturday. I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. Right now, it is Saturday the 28th, but this is the weekly forecast that's going to play out for March 29th, Sunday, March 29th, starting on Sunday, March 29th. Through the 4th, Saturday the 4th of April, correct? I hope I'm doing that right. Yes, through the 4th of April. So let's see, for those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. My name is Dan, this is Engelgeist, and for those of you that are returning, welcome back. For my Patreon subscribers, thank you so very, very much for subscribing over Patreon. Your financial support greatly helps me, and I appreciate it. This is the weekly forecast. It's not only sort of the prediction for the day of the 29th, but it also on the bigger pictures, the underpinning energy of the entire week. So as we go through the week, we'll build upon this reading with the readings each day. Keeping that in mind, this is a timeless message, so if it's reaching you at a date that doesn't fit within that time frame, don't worry, there might still be a message in here for you or something you need to hear. I believe that Spirit can find the right message and get it to you at the right time through many different avenues, be it music, people, experiences, all of that sort of stuff. So you don't necessarily have to turn it off if it's showed up in your autoplay feature. There might be something that you need to watch here or be reminded of. What was the other thing I was going to say? If you want to support the channel, please hit the like button. Please share out the video wherever you'd like. Please follow my business page, hit the like button on my business page and follow it so that you get notified. Hit the bell on either YouTube, on the YouTube page, hit the subscribe button and the bell, or on my Facebook page, because then you'll get notified when I go live for like charm readings and free card pulls and things like that. And you can follow me at Instagram at Engelgeist333, or if you want to really do me a service, you can subscribe to my Patreon channel, which is the daily forecast, a day early basically, and you get other different readings there, like the Archangel reading and things like that, at different levels of subscription. There's different choices to be done there. Okay, so let's get into this and see what's going on. This card is going to represent about 1 or 2, maybe 3 days for each of you. Some of it may resonate, some of it may not. Don't be worried if it does or doesn't. I mean, it's sort of all very flexible. It's all energy. Nothing is ever set in stone. Remember that. We can always change our mind, change our emotions, change our vibration at any given point in time. So let's see what the first card is. So we have the 7 of Swords. Interesting. So to me, this looks like a lot of energy coming at us in the beginning of the week. A lot of mental energy. I don't know if we're struggling with the thoughts of others or struggling with our own thoughts. I mean, this feels like this could be one of 2 things. Either we're struggling with our own mind, right? And these are all of these thoughts that are coming out of sort of our heart. Right? And we're struggling with our own sort of mind and trying to remain strong in the midst of whatever we might be fighting with mentally, or we could be dealing with the thoughts and feelings of others outside of us that are coming at us, telling us maybe how we should be or what we should do, and having to try and stand strong to that, even though if those things sort of pierce us at an emotional level or hurt us at an emotional level. To me, this feels like there is a strength here with this, certainly with this large sword here. It feels like us kind of holding the line or towing the line, trying to remain strong and trying to stay in contact with sort of, this to me appears like a half of a heart, right? So we're trying to stay sort of in touch with our emotions, but trying to not let any of those things overrule us or get the best of us. This yellow energy in here also feels like that sort of analyzer energy. You know, when we're using our analyzer trying to figure things out. And to me, I think that this is just maybe, at least in the beginning part of this week, this is not something that we can solve. This feels to me like this is going to be something that we're going to have to, like I almost feel like we have to sort of give way to it in a way. Not like let it overtake us. I like that there's strength in this sword here, right? But this is tiring, it feels like to me. This card feels like it's taking a strength from us that could be potentially, tapping us out by, we'll see what the other cards are for the week. But to me, this feels like starting off the week, this could be a little bit of a stressful first few days of the week mentally for us, right? And I think that the emotions part of it is going to come into play, but it won't be at the forefront. It will be more about our mental thoughts or about the thoughts of others, our thoughts about others, right? Our worries about our others, or maybe the thoughts that stem from our emotional care of other people that we can't maybe see right now during this time. It could be some of that too, which is piercing our heart, right? And we need to be mindful too, guys. It's interesting to me because this sword is standing here in strength, trying to remain strong. And then these swords, the hilts are pointed out that way. And to me, this is always like future, heading this way into the week. We read left to right, right? So to me, this is always like kind of pointing out to the future. So be mindful that some of these things that we might be feeling and thinking, we could be leading with into the week, okay? So keeping that in mind, we want to keep a clarity and a sense of purpose of what we're doing, and that strength about us, right? There is a control here, I feel like, in this card. This is going to be a hard one. I feel like this isn't like we're going to have to face these thoughts. We're not going to be able to manipulate them in any way or change them. They're pretty much in our face as they are, right? Like, this is pretty undeniable in front of us. But what we can do to get out sort of ahead of it is we need to be mindful that they're just only thoughts, and that we don't want to energize them too much or give them too much emotional reaction. Because if we do, we start to act as if they are real, and we start to act from a place of worry and fear. And when we do that, we kind of create more of that, more of an opportunity for that to become the reality. Okay? So let's keep that in mind. Going to the next card, we have the Four of Wands. Now, Wands is the element of spirit. I like this card being the following card for the midweek. This feels to me like a stabilization. Fours are always about stabilizing things in my mind, because I think of four legs on the table, right? So this Four of Wands is about finding maybe some clarity by connecting to the spirit and getting sort of like a little bit more, I love how these wands are kind of interlaced to one another. So they're sort of banding together and kind of coming together in strength. This to me feels very tiring in the early part of the week. So like I would say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we might find ourselves like mentally going through a lot of different scenarios in our head that make us feel a certain way. By the middle week, hopefully by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're getting to a place where we're able to sort of let that go and connect to a more clearer sense of self. This diamond represents to me like value, clarity, worth, treasure, right? And it being the element of fire, and it being as wands being the element of fire, it's a sort of and also the element of connected to the element of spirit. This is about finding our sort of balance within our spirit, finding our like grounding in what we know to be true from a place of spirit, and allowing that beauty to sort of shine through, the delicacy of that, not being so much treacherously thinking and maybe harming ourselves. So somewhere in the beginning part of the week, we might tire ourselves out, and from that, a new sort of sense of self will hopefully be born by the midweek, right? Where we have a new sort of connection to ourselves, or we've stabilized our connection to ourselves at a spiritual level, and we start to sort of shine like this diamond here. We start to shine with more clarity, more awareness. We're starting to realize that we can't control these thoughts. We can't, we're going to have to sort of live more in the moment. That is also the element of fire and spirit, right? And that's, I think, what some of the struggle is for everybody right now, and where the fear is coming from and the anxiety is coming from, is because we don't feel as though we can plan for the future. And these thoughts here, to me, feel like they want to plan for the future, but they just can't, because we don't know where this is heading right now. It's very much an unknown. So as a populace, we are all facing this head first with blinders on together. And the realization of that, and the settling into the present moment, and the spirit and the stabilizing of that, is where we get that clarity. And we're allowed to shine. We're allowed to have our, like, feel delicate in nature, yet have our beauty, our growth, our spirituality, and be connected to that by midweek. We're just going to have to settle into this as a perception, or a way of being. at the midweek. Now let's see what's at the end of the week. Whoa, hello. So we have the devil. Now, the devil's major arcana, which means kind of big energy for sure. The devil is usually the card that nobody wants to see in a reading, right? Everybody freaks out. I'm going to move this angel down here just for a moment, just so that we can see this card. And there's people in bondage here, right? They're like sort of a slave to their stuff. Now, what I want to say that's interesting to me about this card, there's 3 cards people never want to see is the devil, the tower, and death, right? People always freak out about them. To me, the devil's not a scary card. What first pulls my attention is these 2 people in bondage to him, right? Which this is a very common symbology with the devil card. But the other thing, and generally the devil's masculine, this is a cool thing that it's a feminine devil. What's interesting to me is she's got spider webs tattooed on her legs, and then she has this face tattooed right around her lower chakras. Her survival, to me this feels like, our solar plexus, our emotions, which is the sacral chakra, and then the root chakra, right, which is where all of our survival is. If we're finding ourselves by the end of the week feeling a little bit in bondage, a little bit over being in self-isolation, a little bit over all of the sort of emotions that we went through in the first beginning part of the week, it's almost like we stress ourselves out mentally, so much so that we have a break and a pause where our spirit can come through, and then we start to have this awareness of what I'm hoping this devil represents for most of you is this awareness of where are we working at from the world? Are we looking at the world from our lower 3 chakras, from a place of over-emotionality, despair, and worrying, and trying to control it through our 3rd chakra? And this, again, I'm going to go back to that place of, this is outside of our control, guys. This is not able to be controlled. The devil also represents sort of any kind of vices that we may have, any sort of go-tos that look like sort of got us out of ourselves in the past, like it can be drugs, alcohol, sex, laziness. Mine is a big one for me. It can be laziness, like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, procrastination. These are things that the devil sort of wants us to do. These are things that the devil wants to keep us in. But what I feel like with this devil card is it actually feels to me like those things aren't going to work for us anymore. And we already kind of know that to a degree. Some of us may try and slip back into that sort of Netflix binging, dealing, but this is about, I really feel like these cards are about bringing us to the forefront of who we are and what we need to address. This devil card to me actually feels like a benefit in the sense that it feels like it's forcing us to look at what's no longer working for us in this sort of present time situation, right? That requires us to kind of live in the moment and act from what we know, which is not much as we move forward. We cannot really plan for the future right now. And we can't really, without being able to plan for the future, it doesn't really serve us much to go back to the past. That's what I think the effect that this whole COVID-19 thing is having on us is it's really forcing us more so than ever to live in the present moment, or closer to the present moment than we've ever been before. And this devil card to me feels like by week's end, we're really going to be feeling the push of that. We're really going to be feeling the awareness of that. Now, the devil probably wants us to stay in those lower chakras, to stay fearful, right? And to stay sort of attached to the idea of, will I survive this? Being in fear, keeping ourselves sort of just wigged out in essence. And we don't want to do that. If we stay in fear and we stay sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? If we stay in those lower chakras and operate from there, we're going to operate from more base kind of understanding, and probably do things that are more based in sort of devilish kind of behaviors, like, not sharing with people, not being supportive to others, being in fear, feeling like there's not enough, being angry more than positive. So we want to keep an eye on those things, only because we don't want those things to sort of lead us, right? So keep that in mind as at the end of the week. The devil could be there to show us a lot of what's not working for us. And to me, that's a good thing. I think that that's a great thing, actually. Only because it it gives us an opportunity to kind of strengthen ourselves, not give in to our vices, not give in to our fears, but we may have to face them full front. And it's funny because this wand card to me is that beginning of that fire energy, and then we head into the devil. So this is that stabilization before we have to sort of face truly whatever is kind of haunting us. And I think that that's some of what this time apart is requiring of us, is to go deeper, get more in contact with ourselves, and shed away these, like, I don't know, hidden shames, worries, doubts of who we are, that sort of a thing. This devil card is there to sort of have us face that, show us exactly where we are maybe not measuring up, and then we're going to have a choice. Do we continue to not measure up, or do we try and do something different? So it will be significant, I feel like, for some of you. I feel like this card will challenge us in ways that, like, we need to be challenged. I actually feel like this card is doing us a service if we face it head on, don't fear it, and then find the answers that we need from it. Let's see what the universe has your back has to say. The devil is also, you know, the sort of earth plane to me, in the sense that they always talk about the devil coming to rule the earth and whatever. So this is about sort of our earthly existence and how we are on earth and how we treat ourselves and others. So keeping that in mind and shedding away any past sort of shame, misery, mistakes that we maybe have made that the devil wants to keep in our mind to make us think that we're, like, unworthy. We want to face those and change those and reassess those. So the devil's actually doing us a service by making us face them. That's my belief. Okay. We're going to take her and put her right back up in front of the devil. And remember, the devil was an angel. He was just an angel that served God and didn't want to serve man when God asked him to. So, I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. Wow. Okay, so, guys, this feels like this is some of the fear that we're overthinking in the beginning of the week. The devil is going to maybe, you know, give us a little fear or something to look at that we maybe might feel uncomfortable by. Expect this week to be a little bit, I feel like it's going to be a little stable in the middle of the week with this Four of Wands. I like that the Four of Wands is there, but this is going to be maybe a challenging week for some of us. This will be our second week in self-containment or whatever. But we have to recognize when and where we're choosing our fear over choosing love, right? That's going to be the most important thing in all of this, I think, especially as we move through this week. And I think that's what this card is telling us. This sliver of the moon also makes me think of intuition, trusting our intuition. There's also this faint, like, full moon down here, which is really interesting. So, for some reason I get this feeling that this might be a cycle, like it's showing us a cycle here. This might be a cycle where we go back between fear and love throughout this experience. This experience could be a full, not this particular experience, but where we're fighting between choosing fear and choosing love. We might have to go back and forth many times throughout the process of this, right? Let's see what the grounding stone is. Okay, this was yesterday's grounding stone. That's wild. So this is about health. So again, I'm going to say what I said yesterday on Saturday's grounding stone, and it's carrying over. This is about not only, I feel like this is not only about our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, but I mean the fact that there is this virus and everything, it's a physical health thing, it's a health of the planet. There's something that's going on here. We need to focus on what is working and what is right. We need to focus on the fact that we are safe. We need to mentally focus on the fact that things are going to be okay. And if they're not okay, we have to understand what's happening and why. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, we need to go into a place or a state of believing that things are happening for a reason. We need to meditate on these things. If we're worried about our loved ones, we need to see them in safe situations. We need to see them secure and safe. We need to, for those of us that have lost loved ones, right, or people are sick and we're worried about them, we need to see them recovering. We need to create this space of health. We cannot choose this fear. We need to choose this love. We need to see the planet is healing from us all staying in our homes and us all doing our part, right? We need to see that this is about, like, focusing on the health of us as a people, as a race, versus running around like worried and scared and fearful. We can overcome this, right? Even if it gets big and hairy and we have to face some things that we don't want to in this devil card, right? But we have to face these things because we haven't changed them in the time that was given to us. So now it sort of feels like it's this big jump, right? It's this big sort of leap forward into faith. But it's about keeping ourselves and our planet and our evolution healthy, guys. This is about the health of, like, our evolution of our of the human race, of the planet, of animals, of all of the different kingdoms, the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom. This is about remembering that we're not the only ones here. There's the spiritual realm too, and bringing ourselves into health and balance with that also. This is, I can understand that this is uncomfortable for everyone. But it sort of needs to be uncomfortable so that we can sort of swing ourselves back to this place of health. So I feel like this idea of health is going to be the theme for the week of this week. This is about healing ourselves, right? Health is healing, right? And healing ourselves and healing the planet and actively doing our part, and maybe keeping that as a focus, right? When our thoughts reach up to grab us and scare us, or we face some things in the later part of the week that we don't necessarily like about ourselves or others, we need to remember, are we choosing love or are we choosing fear? If we're choosing love, we're choosing the healthy option. We're choosing, to bring about healing. If we're choosing fear, or shame or guilt or all of those lower vibrations, we're just bringing ourselves further down. Don't allow that to happen. This feels like a 50-50 thing to me, between the Seven of Swords and this Four of Wands and then the Devil at the end. It's like, which one are you going to choose by the week's end? Which one are you going to be at? Are you going to be stable and in this fire energy and ready to face this the sort of the devil energy? And the devil energy will be a teacher, ultimately, so be appreciative of that teacher. Okay, so that is your forecast for the week. I hope it makes sense. Please leave me a like, a share, a comment, a subscribe. I greatly appreciate all of it. Go over to my Patreon page and subscribe if you'd like to support me in that way, or follow my Instagram at Engelgeist333. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day and take care of yourself, okay? Choose love. Bye-bye.